hills and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Shortbangers. This is episode 62 with Colin and John. Guys, he's all right?
Good. Just contemplating what constitutes a whole.
It's one of life's great philosophical questions. Is the saying any hole's a goal relevant here?
No, in this day and age. No. I was listening to another podcast the other week though. It's like a sport. It's a sporting thing, but it's Jake Humphries, kind of BT Sport, I think. Yeah. A newsroom guy, anyway. He does a sporting podcast where, well, it's not just sport actually, but it's all about, it's like a personal development thing, right? All about mindset and all that. And they had somebody on talking about creating a team, and they were talking about recruiting and that. And I'm getting into the whole thing in a minute. And what they said was, if you're recruiting a team, rather than just recruiting anybody, you're better with it. So that their rephrase is, you're better with a hole than an arsehole. I quite like it. And I think it's quite good if you're ever recruiting somebody, you just think, am I just taking them just because nobody else was good enough? Or am I taking them because they're good? So better with a hole than an arsehole.
Is that a thinly veiled dig at me, Colin?
In what way?
Are you calling me an arsehole?
No, not in your face.
Oh, I don't know, I've just got a text for Colin.
I'll wait check my phone to see if I've got it through.
I was recruited later than you to this fucking nonsense anyway, so if anything, it's...
All right, first question comes from Matt. It says, have you ever held a shite in for a long time thinking you might shite yourself only to get home and find you just needed the biggest fart ever?
Don't recall that.
I have. I sometimes get that. We think, so porridge doesn't agree with me, especially. Right? I like porridge, but if I have it for most of the duration of the day, my tummy makes weird sort of bubbling noises, and I think, okay, that's going to be like a wet one. And you go to the toilet, and so it's more often than not just a big fart, but it's one of those ones that you couldn't risk. Like we were talking in the last episode about your two sphincters. That one, even if it was going, this is definitely a fart, I would not be trusting it.
I think the farts that you're describing are really big, dangerous, loud, questionable farts, and I reckon there's probably a wee bit jobby comes out and spatters your boxers at the same time.
Well, in the case, I would never risk one of those ones. Those are the ones where you come out and somebody thinks an elephant might have been in the building because of the noise. Aye. Anyway, right, okay. Andy says, what's the point in fencing? The sport, not the popular garden structure.
It's the end of the sword.
Oh, that's good. There's a literal answer there. You into the fencing, John? You watch it?
No, but I'm curious to know more about what Colin knows about it. Did you say it's the end of the sword?
Well, what's the point?
Oh, what's the point? The end of the sword.
If you've ever had to explain a joke to anybody, just text 80295 and tell us what the joke was. I always wonder why they dress like beekeepers. That's I think if that's like if the two things are connected, if beekeepers at one point, in order to keep themselves safe from bees, as well as having the equipment, tried to fucking whack them with swords, and then that's how fencing was born.
Maybe try to skewer them like kebabs.
Aye. Get them like a barbecue them like a marshmallow.
I don't know what.
I guess it's shite. Have you ever watched that?
I've seen. No, right. So I've seen it, but I've never sat and watched it. Do you know, like it's been on, or it's maybe been on the news or something like that in the Olympics. And they have like a cable attached to them as well. It's like looks like a bungee cord.
Did they? Oh, I've never noticed that.
Well, I think it's because are they just called swords? They have like a name.
Foils. I believe is one of the style of sword because it's more than just one.
So I think they're electric. If they make contact with another person, so you don't have to actually stab them with it. The cable is this makes an electric connection, and that gets a point. I think that's what it's for. What's the most pointless sport?
Skateboarding.
How do you define sport?
Well,
It's in,
Is it,
in the
if it's on the
Olympics,
if it's on the TV
aye. If
or
it's
is
on
it
the
in the
Olympics, if Des Lynam's talked about it at some point,
or the Winter Olympics.
aye.
So then you can't include darts then. Lots of points in that game. But
Darts
the
isn't a sport. It's
Darts is a
entertaining,
sport.
but it's not a
Right,
sport.
what was snooker?
it's not a sport either, but I do like watching
Entertaining,
it.
but it's not a sport.
I like watching both, but I don't think they're sports. I think skateboarding, just there's one off the top of my head. It's a fucking point.
See, I would say that it requires a degree of athleticism that kind of edges it towards being more of a sport, albeit it's an individual pursuit.
About kabaddi.
Mind that.
Sport.
I used to tag, but give me a tag.
Okay. Do you know the kabaddi? The reason it's called kabaddi, do you care why that
They've
is?
got to say it over and over when they're
Aye.
playing it.
Because when you
I can't remember
break
what it means, though.
when you break into the other team's half, because basically you have to tag them and no let them tag you, and you have to hold your breath the whole time that you're doing it. So the
Aye.
way that they show that you're holding your breath is they repeat over and over and over kabaddi, 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 tag. That's how it goes. And then they fucking run back.
But you can breathe when you're speaking. You can breathe in.
No, if you just say it over and over and over again.
All right. Sure, it's easy to cheat that.
Well, I suppose, but you're only cheating yourself if you do that. So if you're a kabaddiist, or a kabaddi, like if you're a cheat at it, you would be a kabaddi. Yeah.
Kabaddi. Oh.
Like,
Just incidentally, just on the foil question and cheating, there was a boy in the Olympics who was caught cheating in the fencing. He had a wee mechanism in his sword, like you know how the wee bit that sort of covers their hand. He was pressing the buttons that suggested that he'd hit his opponent when he hadn't.
Ah.
FYI. He got found out though. He had his medal taken off him, I'm sure.
Great, right. 150k in Hanlon House said X-Men was on TV last night. Turns out Magneto would make a decent panel beater in an accident repair shop. If you were a mutant, what would be your special power and what normal job would it allow you to do? Pishest one wins. I would have, if we go for pish ones, the ability to make the exact same beep as a supermarket checkout.
So you didn't have to scan your shopping, like?
Aye, or if the sound was broken for when they were doing it, I could get to reassure customers that all the items
To
were going
replicate tone for tone, word for word.
Aye.
If you have a Morrison's More card,
Aye.
please scan it now.
So that would be what my one would be.
I'm going to go back down the punctual route again, like I was saying in the last one. Like a button I could press, or fire out my finger to make folk come on time.
Extra sensory. Your duty meet Colin. Your duty meet Colin.
I just do meet fucking anybody. You should not just me. You should be on time all the time. I even get frustrated at the football going, fucking game starts in 2 minutes. There's no cunt in that stand.
Aye.
So I sit there text him and go, it's not done. We're standing outside queuing again. I've just got another sport. Well, parkour.
Oh, aye.
Give them when they're just like jumping over banisters and sliding down things.
Jumping over.
What are you doing?
Jumped
Running
over.
up was in that.
Aye. Done a wee somersault. There's a fucking escalator there, mate. Just like that.
They're very athletic in that, but fuck you then. Shoes the stairs, eh?
Who was it? It was what was his name? The boy, the health secretary, Hancock. He done it. That was on. It's like a wee feature. Aye, he didn't do it full time, but there's like clips of him doing it.
Oh no, that'll be torture.
Oh, it is. If you see how he's dressed as you would imagine, you know when Brody's trying to dress up in the sport. Oh no, he doesn't have a helmet, but
knee
He's
pads
just a
and the elbow
fucking
pads.
helmet.
he would have wished for one, I'm sure. All right, John, did you have a what was your superhero?
No, I think I'd like to be able to remember what my wife had told me when I clearly wasn't listening, because she found out that I don't know if you remember when I was saying that I'd read somewhere that there was a foolproof way to get your other half to tell you what it was they just said when you weren't listening. It was to say to them, "What do you mean?" And they'd basically repeat it, but maybe a different way. And the missus had overheard me talking about it on the podcast, and she went, "You're a fucking dick."
And you went, "What do you mean?"
What do you mean?
on that note, though, it'd be good to get one when they tell you they've said something and you're going, no, you fucking
Nah,
didn't.
not a
To
chance.
actually go back and get like VAR on it.
That would be an amazing
like-
superpower, that one, eh?
That's not what we said. Or the ones I get is I'll say something, and then she'll say, but you said, like, week down the line, but you said fucking X, Y, and Z. And I'll go, no, never. What I was saying was, like, you're on similar lines here, but you've kind of fucking twisted my words. If you could just replay that, just stick it on the Bluetooth, on the telly, push, there you go. There you are, see?
Yep, that's what I'm after.
I'll take that one as well. Right, Carl said, would you rather have a cat that behaves like a dog or a dog that behaves like a cat?
Cat that behaves like a dog, because I don't really know what the point in cats are.
See, I've had cats and got a dog now. And if the dog behaves like a cat, it'd be fucking easy. And cats are probably not as much fun as a dog, but they're much less work. And they like a wee pet and everything like that, Ken. They parrot. They're friendly. If you get a friendly cat, it's good. So I would err towards that at the moment. Maybe when he's grown up a wee bit, I'll maybe go probably want a cat like a dog. But right now, based on the day that I've had, if he'd been like a cat, I would fucking love him.
I think I'd go for a dog that behaved like a cat, purely because in some aspects my dog does behave like a cat. Like before we had the living room window taken out and replaced with the doors, it used to lie on the windowsill in the sun. And he sometimes still lies on the stair. I think especially when the bairn's crying, he'll just go and find himself a wee quiet step to lie on.
Aye.
You just lie, you lucky bastard. You're kind of wish I could just go lie in that step.
Licking my balls.
What do you mean? Is that what do you mean?
Right, Billy says, I'll be finishing this year as a dad to twins. Any advice or tips on fatherhood? So congratulations, Billy, to you and your other half. That's nice news. We're all dads. What advice would you give Billy as a new dad? Sleep now, as much as you can.
Aye.
Routine.
There's one, I'm not going to take credit for it, it's on another podcast listening, but this goes, keep them safe till they're 16, keep them out of jail when they're older than 16. That's the, I think that's it. I think that's the phrase Andy Dawson on Top Flight Time Machine.
That's the job, innit?
Under 16, keep them safe. Over 16, keep them out of prison.
I would say,
that's it.
did he beat yourself up about stuff? I think folk get neurotic about kids these days, and just try to remember what it was like when you were wee, and presumably because you're married, or if you're married, but you're about to parent some kids yourself, Billy, you've turned out all right. So then you get neurotic about stuff that the kids will be doing, or worrying that you're doing this wrong or that wrong, or that you should be keeping up with the fucking Joneses or whatever.
Aye, that's the danger. That is
Aye.
a big danger, because, like, think about when we were at school, right? When we were younger. Like, I can't mind my mum and dad ever phoning school, ever. Right now, never really phoning sick in that when we were at school.
Aye.
Took the letter in after you went back, saying why you were off. But now folk, like, they're phoning, like, the mollycoddle their kids.
Aye.
And the kids are never, like, kids learn from making mistakes. Everybody learns from making mistakes.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Like, even when you're an adult, and parents now at our age aren't letting their kids make mistakes. So they're all wee fucking arseholes, because they think they're going to, like, be Prime Minister or fucking an astronaut or something, because mummy and daddy have told them that's what they're the best. And they're not. Like, you need to go and play football or rugby or whatever, and go and get beat and go and get battered and go and learn that they need to improve and get better at things. Otherwise they'll never amount to anything. It's like the amount of folk I've had in coming for school or young uni or whatever, coming into jobs, and you think they speak to people like me or equivalent as if like I'm a piece of shit in their shoe, because like they're only in that seat for a couple of weeks till they're working for the chief exec, and you think it doesn't work like that, mate.
Aye.
You know what I mean? And it's because at school now they get taught confidence rather than maths or English.
I think the other thing would be take all the help you can get. When families say, go and have a night out, we'll watch the Bairn, and like that was one of the things that we didn't do so much, was we tried everything ourselves. It's fucking hard going. And if I had my time again, I would have been like, we're going out this weekend, somebody watch the Bairns. and had that wee bit more time. So take advantage of any offer of help you get.
Get your missus to breastfeed. That's another one, right? Because then you don't need to get up all the time during the night. Just between me and him.
Any for you, John?
I'm still early days, but what we found that works for us is routine. Just find a routine, stick to it, find what works for you. Find what works for you. Like lots and lots of people, other parents, your parents, grandparents, everyone's going to have advice for you. Do your thing. Do what works for you.
Listen to what we've said, but ignore everybody else. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
There's wee snippets, wee tidbits for people that you're going to go, that's going to work for you. But by and large, find what works for you.
Routine's good though. That's definitely good. And what it is try the control crying thing when the bairn starts screaming. Then you keep them picking them up because then they'll just be being arseholes and want up all the time.
That's a really good shout as well.
I've definitely done that where I've just I go
hard
through
to
like
do
a
it, but you
mental
need it.
checklist. You're fed, you're changed, you're burped. I've tried entertaining you, I've tried comforting you. If you're still crying,
Because
I've got
then
other
that
stuff to
becomes
do.
the habit. That becomes the
Aye.
routine rather
Yeah.
than so.
Aye.
Yeah, they need to.
Okay, Chatter says it doesn't really matter more when there's money on it. Chatter's with an anti-gambling account. Does it matter more when there's money on it?
That's a bit a loaded question, is it no? Coming for the account that it's come from.
Since you've just told us it's game for. So if we take Sunday's game then, it wouldn't matter to me more if I had money on it. But
No.
a non, if I hadn't put money on it, so it's anti-gambling. It's hard to answer it. Right. So if I pick another game on Sunday, I don't know, whoever Man United are playing or whatever, and I put money on it, then I'll actually give a fuck more about it than I would if
Aye.
I never had money on it.
So some things do, some things don't.
It matters in as much as your fiver might make you 25 quid or something.
Aye. Well, I
It
suppose
matters
as
more than
much as
nothing.
it would matter
It
to
matters
me.
more
Aye.
than nothing though.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Not by a lot.
Nah. Right, Alistair Taylor said, what would be worse, being a Rangers fan or being a Hearts fan?
I actually think the Rangers fan is worse.
Well, see, I thought that at first, right? But then, at least if you're a Rangers fan, now they've come out the worst of the time. Because they've obviously had this shite spell after they died, and the new club came and had to go through all the divisions and everything. Everybody was taking the piss at them. But they're kind of now out the other side of that, haven't they? They're not like the banter club that they were. And so now the Rangers fans are at a point where they'll feel their sense of entitlement is or importance or size or whatever is justified. And we were talking in the last episode about Hearts fans having that sense of importance and entitlement, but it's completely unjustified.
I had to back it up.
Aye.
I wasn't meaning it for that point of view. I was more thinking that they're more bigoted and there's more hatred in that.
Aye,
and that's why it would be worse. But I get what you're saying there for that point.
Do you mean like by what the the name of the name that the support is attached to represents? Like the singing, the violence, the carnage that they caused in Manchester. What was it, back 2007 or something?
Something like that.
Aye.
Whenever it was. Probably Rangers, I'd say.
Okay. Andy said, would you rather have no elbows or no knees for the rest of your life?
Knees. Mine's are fucking killing me now. And so we take that away. And how do you eat if you've no elbows? Like, you need somebody to feed you in that.
Well,
Fucking slap yourself in the face.
I think you because you would. Aye, you'd have to would be straight arms, wouldn't it? Or
You'd have to sort of wiggle yourself about to create momentum to have whatever is in your hand
you'd have to fling
out
it.
in your face.
You'd be an expert
Aye.
like chucking stuff in the air, catching it in your mouth, kind of like you do with a
Exactly.
sweet. You did that with all your dinner. That.
Whereas if it's knees, then it's easy.
Aye.
You can feed yourself still.
If you have no knees, do you end up having to walk on your hands
No, you would
and use
just,
your legs to feed
Be
yourself?
like you've got metal legs. Yeah, it'd be like
you just straight legs. It'd be like the ministry
Aye.
of Silly Walks and Monty Python.
Yeah.
Oh, I just assumed that
Think about it like
without elbows or knees, your arms would be kind of stretched,
stumps.
Armstrong, floppy.
Oh, no, I just thought they would be like rigid, straight, like no
Aye.
with
Or you could be,
flexibility.
but it depends how you take the question. They could be rigid straight, or they could just be like stumps. Like just
So
cut off at the.
I suppose if they were
presume-
rigid, if there was no elbows, they'd be tough to be rigid. It would just be one bone.
I presumed you would still have your hands and feet and shins and that. Like,
I
Chin
never
and
thought of that.
wrists.
I just thought it'd be cut straight off at the knee. Boom.
I saw
How
it.
can one simple question have so many different ideas?
All right, Paul Mackay asked, ice lollies, knobbly bobbly or fab, and why? So a knobbly bobbly, is that not just like an extended fab? The fab's got the
Aye,
knobbly
I was
bobbly
just
bit
gonna
at the
say that.
start, isn't it?
It's all chocolate in
Yeah.
the hundreds and thousands, whereas the fab's just about the top.
Aye, is the fab's the one that looks a wee bit like the spaceship? Or the
Aye, red
rocket?
and white.
Yeah.
Aye, but it's made of an ice lolly. The fab's better because it's got obviously it's not hundreds and thousands, but it's the wee knobbly bobblies. And then it's got the chocolate
Aye.
and whatever it is that's
Yeah.
inside it. It's got almost like a wee layer of ice cream that surrounds the
Yeah,
Like the
fabs are
sort of feast sort of looking. Like
Aye.
a
fabs are
feast
good.
is.
Yeah.
like a wee Kunsel feast.
Feasts have got smaller by remember feasts when you were wee, the chocolate
Aye.
bit in the middle was always like magic, but
Aye.
no now.
Rubbish.
I'm gonna say knobbly bobbly. That's what I'm siding.
Yeah, thanks as well.
If
Right.
the missus comes back with fabs instead of knobbly bobblies, I'm outraged. But she never does, so
It's my knobbly bobbly.
start flipping tables.
Random Dribble said, "Are octopuses a type of spider, or are spiders a type of octopus?"
I think the only similarity is they've got 8 legs,
Aye,
or
it's
8,
quite-
whatever it is, tentacles.
tentacles. Are they only tentacles because they're in the water? Like if an octopus was a land creature, would it then be called? Would it just be a spider with a big head?
I like.
Could you imagine going into the bathroom one morning? You go for a pee and you see something at the corner of their eye, and there's just at the corner of your eye, and there's like just a
An
big
octopus.
octopus in the bathroom or in the corner of the ceiling.
Would you still try to flush it down the plug hole? How do you get rid of a spider? What's your tactic for it?
Usually a glass with a bit of paper and chuck it out the front.
Depends where it is and how big it is. Like if I can see its knees, generally speaking, I'm trying to get rid of it
When you say get rid of it, you mean like
with extreme prejudice.
Jack Ross style?
Aye. Sometimes if it's just a wee one, like I've had a wee one kicking about here while I've been working, and it's just crawling about the ceiling. It is just tiny. It's all maybe even smaller than like a 5p piece. So he's safe. He's fine.
Aye.
But the big bastards, like the ones that are going to start coming into your house any time now, they're the ones that get squashed. If they're on the floor, if they're in the bath. If they're in the bath, I'll wash them away.
Aye. I drove at my mother-in-law's on Monday night. It was fucking huge. Do you know when you put a pint glass over it, the pint glass only just covers the span of it? Do you know, I was conscious I might have trapped one of its fucking legs. That was quite gross. Got rid of that one. I'm better than I used to be with spiders. I used to absolutely hate them, but now I'm like, just deal with them and just go take it outside. Or,
Sometimes just pick them up.
aye, the
Never
wee,
even bother with a glass.
wee ends, if it's wee ends, if I've got a bit of kitchen roll or a wee wipe or something, I'll just grab it with that and then chuck it to the toilet. But
Fucking Rambo. Just
Yeah.
pick them up.
It's a fucking spider. You're like bigger
Pick
than
them
that.
up, pour some more gunpowder into the wound. Come on.
Right, Random Dribbles again. Would you rather never be able to stand up or sit down ever again?
I think sit down. I think I'd take sit down. Because effectively by saying you can't stand up, then you're in a wheelchair, or equivalent. Just standing up. You could lie down, and you could stand up. So instead of sitting down to watch the telly, you just lie along the floor. Then you get
Is
back
there-
up, walk a bit.
Is there any way that you could get yourself into a stand position if you didn't stand? Like, say, for example, you were sat on the couch
Aye.
and you were just like chucked off it or rolled off it. Could someone lift you into a standing position, for example?
That'd be beautiful doing because you can't stand.
Aye.
So you're not allowed to stand anymore.
So
So
it's,
as soon as
it's,
they
sorry,
did,
it's,
they-
so it's
they-
losing the
the balance
ability
of it.
to stand.
The rule here is you can only do one or the other. There's no get out of jail card here. You're either standing or sitting.
Again, I
I'd
just
go
took
for
a slightly
stand.
different interpretation of the question. Like, if just because you can't sit down for a standing position, maybe someone can just sit you down.
Aye. Random Dribble said Adele. Why? Okay.
I don't know.
Don't know. Random Dribbles again. If booze is bad for you, why does it taste so fucking great? There's loads of things like that. The way, like the
Well,
worst,
thing. Chocolate.
the worst things are for you, the more you like them.
I saw an interesting tweet for Raimondo Brun. He said that he had a theory that the less effort you require to propel yourself forward, I hope I'm remembering this properly, the less effort you require to propel yourself forward, the more dangerous you are. And it was in reference to kids cutting about the streets on e-scooters, particularly on the roads. Presumably meant cyclists and the like.
Well, I suppose with cars and everything like that, like they're no a lot of effort. They're more dangerous than pedestrians. So he's probably right. But it's less
like effort to drive than it is to walk?
Aye. Right, you walk to Glasgow, John, and tell me how it compares to driving to Glasgow.
Right. Okay.
All right, and the last one for Random Dribbles, front or back wiper? And so how is by front wiper you mean reaching in from the front and wiping, and back wiper going in for the back, or front would be both ways? Oh no, you would still. I'm presuming that's what they mean.
Back,
but you got to be careful. You got to make sure that you get everywhere.
Back. Right, Fattest Prickus, if a human had the wings of a sparrow and the arse of a crow, would they actually be able to achieve flight? And would their shites just be wee piddly shites?
If a human had the wings of a sparrow and the arse of a crow, could they achieve flight?
So I think you'd be able to fly. I think the shites would be wee piddly ones. Like if you've got a crow's arse, you're not doing big toelies. But a sparrow's wings would be too wee to carry the weight of a human.
Wouldn't get you. No.
Unless you're Warwick Davies or something like that. But for most of us, a sparrow's wings wouldn't they? If they were proportionate.
You wouldn't carry you.
Aye, they'd have to be proportionate. And I'd imagine if they were proportionate, you would have to eat a hell of a lot to make up for the energy lost during flight, and that would result in a massive shit for your crow's arse.
Do you think you would, if you were 2 parts crow, as in the wings and the arse, you would start to assume a crow's or a bird's diet?
You mean like worms and
leftover
mice?
chips?
You start watching the football Easter one.
Pizza.
I wonder if anyone's checked the cholesterol level in the seagulls at Easter Road.
You could probably
they can't have a healthy diet.
Who were the folk on the TV that went through folks' shite to tell them what they'd been eating?
That's her. How that collapsed. Mind on Celebrity. I'm a Celebrity. You've seen that? Where she didn't want to do the trial, so she had fake
fainted.
Embarrassing.
They should get her to go through the toolies in the seagulls, and then they could give some analysis on it, John.
Do you ever see the comparison between Gillian McKeith, the person who preaches a certain type of diet and goes through your shite, and Nigella Lawson, who cooks with butter and sticks massive lines of ching up her nose?
I've never seen it, but I can imagine. Ray of Sunshine on Leith said, "What's the best way to get rid of TB in an alpaca?"
Is this the one that they killed it? And
Aye.
Never had TB in the end. Is that right?
Well, they thought it was false tests, isn't it? Like they tested it twice, and it tested positive for TB. I think the owner had said if it had TB, it would have died ages ago, like based on when the tests were. And they were really
like TB or not TB, but like that.
But then the government just came out to the point where they're like, "Well, we're not testing again. You'll need to put it in," and that was it. So they put it down. They said, "You're a rubbish alpaca."
Why did they do that with the fucking lateral flow tests?
Okay, with Robbie Goose.
That's it, mate. 2 positives, you're done.
Do you think the other alpacas felt sorry for it, or do you think they were going fucking? But better safe than sorry.
So I read something So there was a couple of things. One of them was that it was government vets that apparently did the autopsy, and they have said that the alpaca showed signs of TB. It had lesions or something on its lungs. I presume it was on its lungs anyway. But they also won't release the results to an independent coroner, whatever the equivalent is for animals. But there was something else I read before the animal was actually killed as well, when they had like it wasn't a stay of execution, but there was a limited time that the government vets were able to come and take the alpaca away. And one of the difficulties that they had was that the only person that could actually identify Geronimo the alpaca from the rest of the flock of alpacas was the person who ran the farm. And the day that the vets came, she just fucked off and went, "Nah, I'm not being part of this." So there's every chance that they've taken away an innocent alpaca.
They're all going, "I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus."
Right, Spartacus. Come on.
One of these is coming. Ray also said, why does Han Solo say he made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs when parsec is a unit of distance rather than time? It's fucking fiction, isn't it? Like, in fiction world, that would have been time. We'll go with
Is
that.
parsec a legitimate unit of measurement? And it was just used differently for Star Wars, or it was something that was measured, used for specifically for Star Wars?
Yeah. Han Solo I never ever get the sense that Han Solo was particularly well educated. Like, there's quite a lot of the Star Wars characters that you think they've probably not gone to school. I mean, he makes his living smuggling and shooting folks. Like, that's how he got by, right? So he had street smarts, but I don't think he's not graduated or something. He's probably heard somebody else say he's just misused the word, trying to sound clever to impress girls. Right? And
what was the name of the run?
It worked. The Kessel Run.
The Kessel Run. So it was like saying, "I did the Kessel Run in 12 purples."
That's it. He's just repeated it, and fair play to him. It's worked. He's pulled Princess Leia. You know, he's happy. She's thinking he's got a fast ship. So
it's not what you know; it's what people believe.
Exactly. So fair play to him. Kaiser Soze said, if you were wrongfully put in an insane asylum, how would you convince him that you're actually sane and not just pretending to be sane? That'd be a shit situation to find yourself in. It
would be.
I would play them Shortbangers. just watch it. There's nothing wrong with me. That you'll never get.
Just ask them some of the questions at fucking 150k and Alex Brickus sends them.
I'm not giving my secrets away.
But you would act really mad, like go the opposite, act really mad, and then they would be like, "We need to test this fucker because there's something that was wrong with him."
Aye.
And then when you get tested, then you can go, "Fuck all wrong with me, mate."
There's a woman I read about recently who, I think she had, I want to say it was encephalitis or cellulitis or something. There was something that had been attacking her brain. And it was misdiagnosed. They thought she'd had a mental breakdown. So she was sectioned and she had seizures and fits and stuff. And she ended up having a fit where she fell out of the bed and ended up lying against the radiator. And the radiator actually ended up burning through her sciatic nerve. She wasn't mentally ill. She just had, she'd had like meningitis, for example, that attacks the brain. That just completely fucked her. So, aye.
That's a harrowing tale, John.
Aye, that's a nice one to finish up on.
I think I would try to get close to the guards, like to the nurses or whatever, and just point out all the stuff that everybody else is doing. Fucking hell, did you see that? As if I was totally shocked by it. You know, like to that point where they were going, I think they're all right.
What's wrong with him again?
Aye. Fuck. By the way, did you see they're saying this? Oof. And that's probably would be my tactic.
Would you try and take over the asylum? Try and induce paranoia in the people that were working there, the ones that were looking after you?
No.
Well, the ones that are mentally ill. Aye. For name mentally ill.
Aye.
you need these tablets.
Take this.
Right.
I've got something new.
You ever seen The Matrix? Right. It's real. 150k at Hamlin Houses. Are pandas just polar bears who like the Cure?
The Cure. Aye.
And then Robert glances are polar bears, just pandas who like Susie, as in Susie and the Banshees, which I suppose would be your yin and yang for the two. Can you imagine if the Cure's the singer's got the mad fucking hair, isn't it? What's his?
Robert Smith.
Aye, Robert Smith. I was going to say Mark Smith. I can't. That was somebody altogether different. Robert Smith. Imagine if pandas kicked about with fucking hair like him. That's if you kind of if they were into the Cure. So
Why do we spend so much time and resources keeping pandas alive when they seem so intent on becoming extinct?
when they can't be bothered themselves.
Like they actually can't be bothered fucking. They can't be arsed with procreation. They just sort of lay about, eat some bamboo, and go, meh.
Well, I suppose if you didn't spend the time, then you'd have no pandas. So are you thinking? So what?
Is it?
He said, why should we care if they didn't care? I think that's
Aye.
what John was going.
Aye. What's the
Aye.
big deal?
Why
Like,
is
if
it
you want to
us?
die, die. If you want your species to die out so badly, if you are
Has
so
anybody
lazy,
sat them down and explained that to them, though, John? That's the thing. You know what I mean? Has anybody said, listen,
you need to
didn't
line
do
up.
this?
Wait, Robert Smith, if you're listening, write a song about why they need to be shagging pandas.
Get them in the mood, or one like a nice sexy one to get them in the mood.
Is the reason that pandas are constantly on the edge of extinction, and we need to introduce so many artificial means, is because they're all shit rides. How
Maybe.
do we make a panda a decent ride?
It's like, you're just fucking lying there. That's what they're saying. That's what Adam's saying. And he's
Show some enthusiasm.
Come aboard.
What do you want me to dress sexy for you?
I just wanted a bit of cuddling first.
Tell me you love me.
Fattest Brick is a T-Rex is approximately 3.5 times the height of a fully grown human being. But if humans were 3.5 times the height of a T-Rex, would it be a good animal to domesticate?
Some size of a fucking house, you know?
Well,
Compliment.
I suppose what he's saying is the T-Rex would be shrunk down so that a human, like a normal size human, would be 3.5 times the size of a
Oh, is that what you
T-Rex.
meant? I was thinking 3.5 times the size of the T-Rex.
So we would be like the BFG. Can you imagine playing fetch, but it'd be crap because, well, I suppose it could catch it in its mouth right enough, but if it was trying to pick the stick up.
It wouldn't be a stick, it'd be a tree.
Well, no, if the T-Rex is 3.5 times smaller than the human.
Oh no! Oh, sorry. I thought
You're thinking we're giants again, aren't you? Like, oh, and you went that way, but
Aye, I thought the T-Rex was just a normal size. But
You're
are
thinking
you
the
saying like the T-Rex was the size of your dog?
bigger than a dog because I think you're more than 3.5 times the size of Murphy, you know.
Probably, but broadly speaking, be about the size of a dog.
Aye. Would it be a good pet to domesticate? I think, imagine it biting your ankles. The dog's bad enough for biting your feet and your ankles and that. So a T-Rex then it.
It would be like a really angry bipedal wolf, like with the teeth and the claws. Like they would just try. It would be like a dog that tried to eat you all the time. Like it wouldn't be funny. It wouldn't be cute.
You could be sort of domesticating it.
So-
I mean,
so
birds used to
training
be like
it,
that before
aye.
until they became like house
Training
pets.
out of it.
Imagine getting a clicker out for your T-Rex. Good boy. Sit. No, sit.
Right, if,
What do you think would come in a can of dinosaur food? Like, do you go down to pets at home? Like, there's an extra aisle. You've got cats, dogs, T-Rex food.
But Jen, do you think you would have other dinosaurs as well? So you'd have like the T-Rex would be like the equivalent of like a staffy or a pit bull or something, do you know? And then you'd have folk going about wee fucking Triceratops or now.
I hope so.
Are you Diplodocus or Diplodocus? Which side of the fence are you on for the name of that one?
Diplodocus.
Diplodocus. Some folks say Diplodocus, which
Never
I
heard
think
that before.
it's like a fucking boring way to say it. A Diplodocus.
Where do you
Aye.
stand on mischievous and mischievous?
Mischievous.
It's mischievous, isn't it?
Aye.
Thanks.
Aye. Although there's probably times where you might use the other one, but it might sound better in the sentence that
I
you
was
say.
thinking it depends on what the sentence is, definitely, but in the main it would be
Aye,
whatever it was we
mischievous.
just agreed.
Aye. Right, Leon said if you had a gun with only 2 bullets while in a room with Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage. Which one would you beat to death?
Jacob Rees-Mogg's right up there, for the beating.
There's a,
Second one line, I'd definitely shoot Boris, and then it would be second bullet would be between Farage and Rees-Mogg. But I reckon Rees-Mogg is in more need of a beating than the others.
Are we advocating podcast sanctioned murder here?
No, we're
it's a fictional thing, like
satire,
like-
John.
These
Just
people don't really exist.
hypothetical.
Well,
We didn't
aye, 'cause
advocate
they're
violence
fictional.
against anybody.
Because they're
Absolutely.
fictional characters. I mean,
Aye.
they can't be real. These guys, can they? They're total fictional. No, they're not real people.
Andrew Hibs referred to Rees-Mogg as the haunted pencil, and that's which I thought was a great
Did
description.
you ever?
Who
Did
was it?
any of you read the Beano? And you got
Aye.
it wasn't
Aye.
was it
Walter.
Dennis the Menace?
Aye.
Walter
Aye,
the
it's Walter
Softy.
the
Like
Softy.
he is the living embodiment
Yes.
of that character.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you ever? We know it was on a group chat we ran. Was it Jimmy that shared Jimmy for Quick Bang that shared the? Was it him? It was somebody shared the video of Rees-Mogg as
When he
a
was wee.
10-year-old boy or something
Aye.
recently.
And he's reading
Oh,
was it the Financial
fuck
Times in
me.
the back of the Bentley?
Ah,
He's one of the Rolls Royce.
phoning
whatever
up
it
the
is.
shares company and that, and asking why they fucking dropped in value and that.
Aye.
Fucking hell.
Definitely.
He's never going to get married because he just steal your money and that.
What a prick.
Which is true.
Uh,
He's right. He's right sometimes.
Faraham 2 says, what's the best way to deal with people, stroke entities that have an unjustified superiority complex? You just beat them on Sunday. I think that's the answer to that one.
Don't
Ignore them.
engage. Don't
Aye.
engage.
Don't engage is better. Aye, is a good one. Right, Freddie said, one, would you rather always have a mullet haircut or a ponytail haircut? I saw a boy who would have been 13, 14 outside Greg's today who had a mullet. He was standing with his mate who did not have a mullet, and it was really fucking noticeable. I thought, surely that's not a thing now, is it? That kids are getting mullets.
I think a mullet would at some point be fashionable. I think a ponytail ever would be.
Ponytails have never been in fashion, really, have they? Mullets are like kind of comedy now, aren't they? Like they were fashionable for
Aye.
a
But
spell.
it'll come back around.
You think?
He's saying people have them now because it's a piss take of the fact that they were so shit at one point.
Well, I think there's not many folk get a haircut for a piss take. Do you know that this go about normal life? Some folk do it, but not many. I think if you would get a mullet for a joke, you would have to be like I just can't imagine.
What's the mullet again? It's when it's shaved sort of at the sides here a bit and then really long at the back.
Aye,
This is the front part
this
at
is
the
the front part at the back. Aye, so shaved here at the sides and then long at the back.
Aye.
It's like ludicrous.
I know a boy for Dunfermline actually who's got a mullet, and I think it was something to do with the rugby club. I think, didn't quote me on that. But he's also got the personality, I think, to carry it off.
Aye.
Like sometimes it's just about confidence or just not giving a fuck.
And then Fred also asked, what would you rather be, super strong or super fast?
I think I'd rather be fast. Already super strong.
As we've already covered that.
So go with the super fast.
Rambo.
I'd go with strong, that one.
Why?
What would you use your strength for?
Well, if I think about the stuff that I have to get fucking involved with here, tip runs.
What's the beds about in that?
Aye.
Huh.
Just like stuff like that where it's a pain. Aye, that kind of stuff. You just be like, you need to
Imagine
lift
if you were
shit.
super fast, you could just get up to the skip and double quick time. The
So-
bed would already be built.
I'd still have to drive though, wouldn't I? Because it wouldn't make any difference.
Just run then.
But I'd have to carry the bed to the tip.
Aye.
But I'm not strong enough.
But you're not carrying it for very long. So if you can carry it for a wee bit of
Well,
time and do really quickly.
Aye, that's true.
So if you carry it for as far as you can, but as fast as you can, you maybe take like
Maybe it would
3,
be
4
all right.
trips.
Aye.
But if you were super strong, it maybe takes you like 4 times as long, but you can do it in one go.
It's like, would you rather be Jeff Capes or fucking Martin O'Boyle? Get what I mean?
Aye. Chef
Situation.
Capes is pretty cool though.
Well, aye. I don't know. I can't remember what his history is. He was around in the 80s. It could be any.
Oh, well, I suppose you have to watch what you see.
Yeah,
The cable might get dug up there. And then, would you rather be the richest person in the world or be immortal?
I'd rather be immortal.
I would add richest, because hear me out, right? And you'll think twice about being immortal, right? So if you take immortal to its literal definition that you will never die, right? There'll be a point where the sun goes out, right? And when that happens, everyone will go fucking boom, it'll all implode, right? You cannot die. What, like, how you
What
have
becomes of you?
you have eternity, like, I think you crushed to a pulp, but still conscious that I'm not able to do anything. Bollocks to that. So I would take the money and enjoy the life that I've got. That's
Or
my
take
answer.
the money and try and do some good with it, or buy immortality with it. Maybe you could do that. Branson's on that already, I think. Branson and Bezos and that. Now they've done space.
So this is what I'm thinking about with immortality. Just because our sun is going to burn out in, what is it, 23 billion years or something? What if we could make our way to another galaxy?
Same rules apply. It's going to happen at some point, isn't it?
Just keep moving, just keep moving. But the universe is expanding.
Aye. But here's the thing, right? So based on if you could travel at the speed of light, stuff in the galaxy's expanding that quick, it's moving further away from you. Even if you're moving towards it at the speed of light,
So
it's
you'd
getting
never
further.
reach your intended destination.
Aye.
But you'd get somewhere.
You get somewhere, but can you end up and you go, oh, this is shit, there's nobody here.
Imagine you took off at the speed of light and you finally got somewhere. And it was the space equivalent of Gorgie.
Freezing. Go back to my imploding sun.
Aye, no, you're right. I'd rather be rich.
William says fried breakfast or a roll containing elements of a fried breakfast, ketchup or brown sauce, and why should the ketchup guy be watched?
What was that? I missed it.
So you've got a fried breakfast or a roll containing elements of a fried breakfast,
right?
Ketchup or brown sauce on it, and why should the guy who says ketchup be watched?
So am I picking? Am I having a fried breakfast or a roll? Is that the first question?
You can have either. So it's
either. And then what
either
sauce am I having on either? Brown sauce.
Oh,
I would pick the fried breakfast first, but if I'm getting either, and it doesn't matter, it's brown sauce on either anyway. So.
Yep.
And I'm not really sure what the last question is. Is it because he's thinking you shouldn't have ketchup on it? Is that what he's meaning? Aye, I agree with him.
John, you're dreaming of a fried breakfast. That you can
see, this is the third week in a row. It was kebab pies, haggis slippers, and now we're on to fucking full all-day breakfasts.
Have you ever, I don't know if Tesco or wherever it is that you shop have done it, but Asda years ago did this thing called a Big Stotty, and it was just this massive, massive roll. And I did actually have a cooked breakfast on it. And it was brilliant. And I can't remember the sauce that I would have in it, but my inclination is to go for tomato sauce. And the reason for that is that amount of carbs requires an extra bit of moisture to it. And I think that the tomato sauce is just a little bit more moist than brown sauce.
I thought you were going for your 1 year 5 a day. Make sure you get some tomatoes in.
Get some vitamins in.
I used to work out at Sight Hill, like when I was about 19, 20 in the Sight Hill Industrial Estate, and I used to do Saturday mornings to get some extra money. And there was a roll van over the road for the office, and used to get the gut buster, and that was effectively what I think you're talking about there. It was basically an all-day breakfast, but on a big fucking massive roll. I think it was called a stotty, maybe it was, but it was a big roll with bacon, sausage, black pudding, haggis. That's gone all in the roll. It was only about $2.50 or something. It was like that was what it was, maybe £3 max. But then it was the late 90s.
All right, my brown sauce and same, apart from John ketchup.
But no. Like in all other scenarios, I think I'd go brown. Just in that one particular scenario, I'd go red.
In all other scenarios, you would go brown.
So if it was
there's a quote in it. There's a quote.
So if it was on a plate, you'd have brown. But if it was on a roll, you'd have tomato. Is that what you're saying?
If it was the cooked breakfast on a roll, I'd go tomato sauce. If it was a cooked breakfast on a plate, I'd go brown sauce. If it was a bacon roll or haggis roll or black pudding roll, it'd be brown sauce.
Aye.
Sorry, I'm just making sure my understanding is correct.
I
can be very, very particular about some things. Cheers, Colin.
Charlie B says, Motherwell.
She's all right.
Good, thanks. How's yours?
They said, right, Random Dribbles said, for fuck's sake, one for Longbangers, I think. There's a wee TikTok, and it's a woman who basically saying it's psychology of food, or psychology, something that she asks 3 questions, right? And then the 4th question is, what name a vegetable, right? Vegetable you're thinking of?
Courgette.
Oh, right, that's not the answer.
No.
John
I
was
know the
thinking
I know the
carrot.
answer.
Carrot is the
Aye.
answer, right? That's what, because it's an old trick you could do it with kids. Used to do. They'd have a bit of paper with carrot written doing it for impressing kids.
What the one I remember from before is like you repeat the same word over and over and over and over again, and then it's what's the first vegetable that comes to mind, and it's carrot. And I don't know why.
I had to get my.
I just
Anyway,
ordered a courgette and I got the shopping in there. I'm making a veggie lasagna next week, so I got a courgette arrived in my Tesco shop. So that's probably why it's at the top of my. I think
Aye.
get carrots as well, right enough. Carrots arrived, I know.
Who knows it?
You never done the 4 questions. Maybe if you'd done the 4 questions.
Aye,
you'd have got it.
if you'd asked the 4 questions before, it's what happens. It's like you start making lists of things like that, and you try to think obvious ones, and then carrots the one that always springs to folks' mind. Or 9 times out of 10. Scott G says, how come when you have one in the car, you slam in the anchors, or it's just about a fly, right? So there's a chain of tweets here. So Liam says, a fly got on my train at York, nearly at London. We cunt doesn't know that he's never going to see his pals again. And Scott G says, how come when you have one in the car, you slam on the anchors, yet the bastard doesn't hit the windscreen? And Alex says, to ask Longbangers. So
Is that not the same reason that things used done a bit? I think when I used to be a listener, like about the plane, and you're on a plane traveling at 600 miles an hour, or 500, whatever it is, 400 miles an hour, whatever you're traveling at.
There is a thing. Was it Concord? Was it Phil Collins or something? They took a putter and a golf ball, and they from one end of the plane they played a putt down the aisle, and it was, I think they called it like the longest putt in the world, because by the time it reached the other end of the plane, it had traveled so many thousand miles.
Well, right, comes to the propulsion, and so if you imagine the fly gets in the car, right, and when the car moves forward, right, everything in the car is getting pushed forward. So the seats, which is what you're sitting on, so that pushes you forward at the same speed as the car. The air in the car gets pushed forward at the same time, right? So the fly, which would be in that air, would go backwards unless it was light enough that the air would give enough resistance to stop it moving. So if you imagine you had like a penny dangling through the ceiling on a bit of string, when you put the accelerator, you take off, it goes backwards. But when you come off the accelerator and they're just driving at a constant speed, it would hang vertically down, because the air is no longer getting pushed forward. It's just everything's moving inside the car relative to each other at the same speed. And then when you brake, you would still have the momentum because the chair and stuff is still propelling you forward. Right? You're moving it. Because a fly is so light, the air doesn't have the force to push it towards the windscreen. So that's how it doesn't go splattering.
Is this speed and mass? This is physics.
It's physics, yeah.
This is QI for idiots. That's what this is.
Aye. That's why a fly doesn't
QI with
Longbanger.
idiots.
Longbanger science abuse.
Aye. There you go. So there's your answer. Connor says, how famous were the famous 5?
Really famous, isn't it?
I've heard of them.
I mean, yeah.
World
The thing is,
changing football.
it's only, even like if you know, I've worked with guys that are in the past that were brought up in they were younger then, and they were our age maybe, or 20 in their 20s when they were playing, and even if they sport Partick Thistle, Aberdeen, whatever, the Hibs are always their sort of second team because of the style of play and because of the boys. So pretty famous, like.
Aye.
In Scottish terms, certainly.
Yeah.
Don't know about.
Well, Enid Blyton wrote a book about them, didn't she? Like
That's
them,
right,
the Secret Seven, which was after the 7-0 win. So
yeah,
that's actual factual.
I think
And
that's what's been called as Richest now as well, all the books. Eh?
Oh, aye.
I used to read all of them. When I was wee, I used to get them all the time, and it's all like, aye. I can't remember what they were, but it's loads of stuff about like, I think it's servants and stuff like that, eh?
Aye.
But the black guy's always a baddie in that.
Stuff like that, aye. Councillor Tom McEwen, last question of the night, says, Ghost Shites, what's that about? Where did they go in such a hurry?
Is he actually a counsellor, this guy? Like,
I just trying to name, I think. Aye, we'll go with that.
Funny thing you call yourself if you're not actually a counsellor, are they?
Well, maybe he is. He is.
Go higher up. Go higher up. Go MP or something. Like if you're
Get
making up. Anyway.
Why stop there?
I'm president. No,
Prime Minister.
vice president.
But maybe
MP.
maybe it is. Like, I kind of know.
Do you think we're going to be on the next Ordinary Business at the Edinburgh City Chambers or something?
Ghost
The
Shakes?
Longbangers podcast.
I hope so.
Next Ordinary
Organise
Business.
open top bus,
potholes.
on top bus for us. What's the question? I've got ghosts.
The ghost shite. You know when you've done a shite and you check and there's nothing there.
Oh, right, aye, okay.
Where did it go in such a hurry? Then maybe just like maybe just wanted to get away. Can't get out there. But maybe been eating something quick, fast food, and it has a fast exit.
Maybe they're just shy jobbies.
Maybe
Just didn't want to be seen, just want to be left to their own devices and head down the
shites.
sewage network. Shites.
Fucking,
Shites.
they're coming out going, it's fucking stinking in there, man. I'm away.
See the nick of these cunts.
Right, that's us out of questions out of time for the night. Back on Sunday, but quick bang after the derby. Hopefully, talk about Hibs win. Thanks to watch out for Friday night or Friday daytime. Tickets go on sale for Shortbangers live. So if you've enjoyed this and want to come along and see us do it in person,
Aye, this is coming out after. We should probably have done this beforehand.
well, they'll still be on sale. It's not going to sell out first day, is
Might
it?
have.
Well, it might
Well,
have.
done.
If you're not lucky with tickets in the scramble, you've not got a lot of the points. We never thought of that far in
We're
advance.
going to get complaints about the ticketing system.
I hope we don't. So 15th of October.
You won't need your COVID passport to get in.
Nah, you won't. You won't unless 10,000 folk turn up. Which I think it's a stadium gig. It's at Easter Road, 15th of October. It's a Friday night.
We're
Come along, have a
expecting-
few drinks for us.
9,999 people or less.
Aye, that's it. We'll make sure we're under the 10,000 threshold, so no COVID passport required. Anyway, keep your questions coming in, and we'll see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no